This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, and host of the Dr. John Deloney Show, is my co-host today as we take your questions about your mental wellness, your boundaries, your relationships, your money, your career, your job, your life, right here on The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. The call is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. Spencer is with us in Indiana to start off this hour. Hey, Spencer, what's up?
Hey, Dave. I have quite a mess I've made for myself, but me and my wife are working on trying to get out.
Cool.
We're on baby step 2, and I have a whole bunch of student loans. I haven't consolidated them yet. Partly because of the way that the repayment is right now. Everything's kind of on forbearance. I've been making the minimum payment despite the forbearance, but my question is this. I have a car loan that's about $30,000, and I have a bunch of student loans. Well, I have some student loans that are less than $30,000, but my payment for my car is about $500, and my payment for each of the student loans are altogether are about $1,000. And normally if I'm following your plan right, I would pay the smallest loans off first. But I'm just wondering if I'll have more money to pay back with if I pay my car off first.
Nope. Works exactly the same math. Math doesn't change.
Okay.
Let's just pretend you're paying $2,000 or $3,000 a month on debt. Okay. And then you're making a car payment, or you're not making a car payment. Either one. You're still going to plow through the total of the debt in exactly the same amount of time. It does not speed it up to get rid of the big payment at all. The only thing that would speed it up is if you got rid of a bigger interest rate, which is not what we teach, but that would actually speed it up. But getting rid of the bigger payment that you're making anyway doesn't change a thing. So what do you guys make a year?
$320.
Well, that's good. What do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse anesthetist.
Ah, and there's the student loans.
So, what kind of mess did you make?
How much is the student loan debt?
Right now it's at $275.
Attaboy. Jeez. That's a lot. What else? What else?
Well, we have one of our cars is almost paid off. We have about $5,000 left on it, and then our other car is about $30,000.
Okay. That's it. Student loans and cars.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a house, we have a mortgage, and we actually have 2 houses. One's getting rented out, but
really?
We have our mortgage, but that's the rest of our debt.
What's that house, the rental house worth?
It's worth maybe $200,000.
And what do you owe on it?
About that, it was really, like I said, it's kind of messy. So
yeah.
I
would go ahead and get that sold. That's not a blessing. That's a curse.
Well, the reason I didn't sell it was because I haven't had it for that long, and I'm worried I'd pay a whole bunch of taxes on it.
You're not going to pay taxes.
You're not going to make any money.
Okay.
If you don't make money on it, you don't pay taxes.
Okay.
And was it a residence?
Yeah, we were in it for just a few months, but it was
How long
kind
have you been out of it? How long have you been out of it?
About 2 months.
Oh, you can sell it with no taxes at all, no matter what your profit is, up to $500,000 married filing jointly. Yeah, you need to get rid of that thing ASAP, brother, because it's a vampire. It is not going to do anything except suck your blood. So you need to be done with that puppy, and then from there, basically what we're dealing with are the big numbers here. are we going to pay $150 a year on this and be done in 2 years and have no life?
Yeah.
And that's what I would
That was
prescribe.
our hope.
That's what I would prescribe. Quit acting like you make a lot of money and instead act like you're a broke person, because, by the way, you're a broke person who actually makes a lot of money. But which is wonderful. Great news is you have a horrible hole that you're in and you have a big old shovel to dig out. So that's wonderful. But, I mean, if you live on $100,000 a year and you put the rest of it towards this debt, you could be done in 2 years.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah. Well, it's not hope. It's math.
Last year I was making 130, I think.
Yeah.
140.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Spencer.
We're praying we can get better.
Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions right in a row, and just answer yes or no.
Okay.
Did you take out $275,000 student loans?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Period. That conversation's over. I can hear you walking around with your head staring at the ground. And you cannot get gazelle intent. A gazelle can't run away with staring at 1 foot in front of it because it's going to trip and fall on its own face. Hold your head up high. You did it. It's over. You own it. And now we're going to be about what comes next.
And now you're a nurse anesthetist, which makes a buttload of money.
A ton of money. You help people be alive.
Yeah, so now go clean up the mess, and in 2 years you'll be done, and you'll look back 5 years from now with a big old pile of money, and you go, God, man, I almost busted it there. Thank God I decided to, lean into this. Yeah, so lean into it with a smile and go, game on, baby.
Be aggressive.
Game
go
on,
get it.
Man. Game on. Get it. Get it.
I hope it works.
No, it's not going to get it.
It's no hope.
Smack it down. It's math. It's not I wish. By God, it's math. I mean, you make $320,000. Let's put $150 a year on $275, and in 2 years, it's magically gone. You know, I mean, this is how it works. But I don't really care what your nurse anesthetist friends are doing because they're mathematically stupid. So don't listen to them. Okay, I really don't care if they're buying houses or BMWs or whatever. Sell the stupid house you just moved out of. Get rid of it. It's a problem. It's not a blessing. You can keep the car. Just because you make so stinking much money. If you want to keep that $30,000 car, it's okay if you're going to get out of debt in 2 years or less. If you're not going to get out of debt in 2 years or less, you need to sell the $30,000 car. But you need to. You really need to get this done, and you can do it. It's very doable. Now, it's man. I sometimes I talk to people that have $275,000 in debt, and they make $100,000.
Or they make 65, and I think,
that's a bigger problem, man. I mean, that's a little bitty shovel in a big old hole. You know, you can't do that. So, the good news is you have the blessing of this income, so you have to dial it in and be game on, committed, you and your wife, and go, we don't make $320,000 a year. We're not going to act like we make $320,000 a year because we have a mess that is bigger than this, and we have to live on nothing, beans and rice and beans. You don't need to see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working there. You don't need to go on vacation. You need to get out of debt. And you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it. I can see it. And I can't wait to hear your debt-free scream. It's going to be amazing. This is The Ramsey Show. Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. People are craving connection. They're craving community. They're craving the energy that comes with humans being with other humans. We hear you, and we're the same way around here, and that's why we're bringing back our life-changing live events. We're going back on the road, and we are not holding back this year. First up is Wealth Building Live. It's coming to Orlando on Thursday, May 19th. This thing is selling fast. It's almost sold out already. You can still get tickets, though, if you do it. If you're waiting around to buy your ticket, don't. It's about gone. This event's is going on tour this year. We're going to have other locations to tell you about really soon. Another one this spring. It's a city that sounds kind of like Las Vegas, but we'll just see. It sounds suspiciously like that when you say it, but I'll let you know when I have the contract signed that we can actually go. So, good stuff. And 4 more cities in the fall, including in addition to that, in the fall, we're going to be doing our Smart Conference. Smart Conference is back. It's a day-long conference where you get smarter about every area of your life. All of the personalities will be there. Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, George Camel, Christina Ellis, Pedro Latorre, and our good friends Craig and Amy Groeschel from Life Church are coming. They're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about your mental wellness. We're going to be talking about your career and your job. Every area of your life, by the time you get to the end of the day, you will be smarter. I promise. You'll be tired, too. Be a long day. It's going to be a great day, though. We're excited about it. I haven't gotten to do one of these in a couple of years because of all the garbage going on out there. But October 22nd, Dallas. If you want to learn more about all of our live events as they come online, you can keep up with them at RamseySolutions.com/events. Going to be good to be back on stage doing these smart conferences again, John.
I can't wait. I've been on the road a lot the last few months, and I can't wait to get on. But I've been by myself and staying in hotels, working with businesses all across the country. I can't wait to get back on the road with the gang.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Get the band back together, baby. It's time. All right. Lynn is with us in Minneapolis. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, John. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I am a huge fan, and I'm debt-free thanks to you and your program.
Well,
so
way to go.
I am 60 years old. I make $55,000 a year as an administrative assistant. And yet I still live paycheck to paycheck because of my high rent, but I love where I live. Mm-hmm. My take-home pay is $2,600 a month, and my rent is $1,655, which is over half of my take-home pay for a one-bedroom apartment. I've been looking at purchasing a condo, but the ones I like get outbidded, and the older condos, which are more affordable to buy, have a high, like $700 in HOA fees, and I'm not comfortable with that high of a fee. So my question for you today is, I really like the convenience of renting. I'm wondering if it's in my best interest to purchase something or if it's okay to keep renting. I could find a cheaper apartment that's not as nice, but it would be like $200 less a month.
Okay.
And
your $2,600 number, if you make $50,000, is wrong.
Is wrong?
Yeah. Well, $2,600 is $30,000. You don't have $20,000 in taxes. Do you make $50,000 a year? Is that what your salary is based on? Are you getting a huge refund, or are you counting stuff that's coming out of your check other than taxes when you're telling me what your take-home pay is?
Oh, I'm counting, that's what it comes out for my benefits and my retirement.
Okay. How much are you putting in? How much are you putting in retirement?
Okay. I do 4%, which is required for an 8% match. Mm-hmm. And then I do another 1% on top of that. So that comes to $2,857 a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Your benefits expensive? Or are you getting a big tax refund every year?
I'm not, because I also get spousal support, and I have to pay taxes on that.
Okay.
So I just keep out what I need for taxes, and I got hit really big this year for some reason.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with how we go from a $50,000 income to a $30,000 take-home pay. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find out where that money's going. Okay, and it didn't go to retirement.
My paychecks are my paychecks are like $13.84, and I get paid. Well, maybe and I do get paid 26 times a year.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit better. So
it's a
we're up to about 35,000 at this point, but still, there's still some money. I mean, I'm not saying it's missing. I just don't know what you're doing with it exactly. So, okay. The answer to your question in overall, without trying to figure out what to do today about it, is that if you're 60 for the next 30 years, can you imagine what rents are going to do?
Yeah, that scares me because I had an increase one year of $150 a month.
Yeah, and it's like that's the problem with being a renter in perpetuation.
Yeah,
it's the largest portion of your income goes to housing, and you lose control of how much it increases when you are at the mercy of the landlord. And so you don't want to be a renter for the next 30 years because that's going to, it's going to increase. Versus if you bought that condo, you've locked in what it costs you, not counting the HOA fees, but you've locked in your cost per month for the next 30 years. And so I'm moving in some way towards one of these condos in some method, figuring out how I'm going to get there and what have I got to do to cause that to happen, because that's a better long-term play for you. We also know that the folks that reach $1 million net worth, the vast majority of them, well over 80% of them, the primary source of their wealth is two things: their retirement plans and their paid-for house. And so, if you end up with a $700,000, $800,000 net worth, in 10 or 15 years over time here, which you probably could do, a portion of that, a third of that, half of that or whatever would be your paid-for condo that you got paid off in the next 15 years. So I want that stability in your long-term plan. That's why we don't want to be a renter long-term. But it doesn't mean we're stupid in the short term, and you go out there in the name of not renting anymore, or you go do something foolish and buy something you can't afford.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of young couples do. When they get married, they have to rush out and buy a house that they can't afford.
Or you get in a bidding war and suddenly you're way out on thin ice.
She was very wise to walk away from those bidding wars. She said it went up and I tapped out.
That's right.
And that's very, very smart. Michael is in Pasadena, California. Hey, Michael, what's up?
How's it going? Thank you for taking my call, Dr. John and Dave. Appreciate you both.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, so we're in a little bit of a situation. I'll give you the briefest explanation that I can. So basically, my wife and I, we live in California currently. We're actually building a house in Arizona. That's where we're from. So we're building a brand new build. We have money from the previous sale of our house.
Mm-hmm.
Before we moved here, we have the cash in our account.
Mm-hmm.
So we can pay off all of our student loans and potentially have a little bit in savings before we go back to Phoenix.
Good.
So we're trying to figure out if we should keep the cash or pay down all of our debt, like really aggressively.
I'd be debt-free by the end of the day.
Okay.
Now, how are you going to close on the new build if you don't have any cash?
So that's the thing. We have cash now. We have
I know. I just got rid of all your cash. How are you going? I offered that as an option. How are you planning on closing on the new build?
Well, we have a little bit of cash, but it won't be as much because we have to pay some money up front just to get the process started because things have changed.
You can, I want you to hold out just enough to close on the new build, barely, and hold out a little bit of an emergency fund, and then I want you to throw the rest of it at this debt and move to Arizona debt-free into a new house. It's going to change your whole attitude about everything when you do that. It sounds reckless and crazy, but you're going to be free, and that's what I would do today. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions. On the debt-free stage, Stephen and Kaylee are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us, Dave.
Well,
Good.
Honored to have you. Where do you guys live?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, we love Grand Rapids. Welcome to Nashville. Good to
Thank
have
you.
you. And how much debt have you paid off?
$231,000 and some change.
Way to go. And how long did this take you?
25 months.
Wow, you're kicking it. And your range of income during that time?
We started around 190 and finished around 260.
Goodness. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a physician assistant.
Oh.
And I'm in dental sales.
Oh, both. Wow. Okay, that's ringing the bell on the income. Well done. So I'm going to guess and say 231 might be a bunch of student loans for the PA. Yeah.
Both of us.
Both of you.
Yep.
All right. All right. Very cool.
Yep. Student loans, and we both had car loans and credit cards.
Yeah,
and of
I
course
lived.
loans.
I lived my mid-20s like.
She was looking at him.
Well, he looked at her for student loans, and she got him back with the credit cards. So it's good. Same team, right?
Yeah, you got to trade. You got to trade the look back and forth there. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, how long y'all been married?
Just 5 months.
Oh
5
my
months.
gosh!
Yeah.
Oh, so you started this separately and then combined it and knocked it out.
So yeah, we're a little different where I'll let Kaylee tell the story and how we got.
So we started this just while we were dating. I remember I was sitting at a wedding and like looking around, and I was like, one day we'll probably want to get married. How are we ever gonna afford this? And I remembered hearing your name a little bit growing up, and I Googled Dave Ramsey and saw the Total Money Makeover.
You're sitting at a wedding and you Googled
No.
Dave. Oh, okay. I was just going, my goodness.
No.
Eat the cake.
Okay,
I
but
ate
the
the
wedding
cake.
woke you up. Then when you got home, you Googled Dave.
Yeah.
Okay. all right.
And so saw Total Money Makeover, and Stephen picked it up for me at Barnes & Noble, and I read it the following weekend, and probably within the next month kind of slowly decided to pay off my car, tell him about it a little bit, and then we both kind of really got on board. But it was interesting because we were just dating. We weren't even engaged at the time, and we both were doing our own debt snowballs. So it was kind of unique in that way.
Yeah, so I bought her that book and watched her just get after it. And I had my own, I guess you can say I was Dave-ish, paying off, like trying to aggressively pay off my credit cards. But then I saw how aggressive she was being with her car, and I was like, I want to marry this woman. I gotta either have to be all in or all out.
Yeah,
and I decided to be all in.
You just can't be left in the dust here. You got to keep up. I mean,
Correct.
come on.
I love how you said, like, I started aggressively getting after it, and then I looked over. She was actually aggressively getting
she
after
was
it.
much more aggressive than I was. So
Yeah.
Love it.
You had two cars at the time, and I feel
Yeah, I
like
had
when
a
you
work-
paid the one off.
yeah, I had a work vehicle and a regular vehicle, and I was like, Dave would not love that. And so I sold my work vehicle and used my personal vehicle as both work and personal, and started the debt snowball from there.
Yeah. Way to go, you guys. This is amazing. I mean, once you decided to do it, both of you you knocked it down big time.
Yeah.
And so in the middle of this debt is also, did y'all cash flow a wedding too?
Yep, we cash flowed about 2/3 of our wedding.
Yep.
And it wasn't just our jobs. We had a lot of side gigs. She picked up shifts in urgent care. She made a ton of money.
That's the lucrative thing, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
picking up other people's garbage and refurbishing it and selling it on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I have a little side lawn mowing business in the summer. So yeah, that we
definitely worked a lot more than we played.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're free.
We're
Yeah,
free.
and we were able to pay both of us pay our debt off the week before our wedding.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was your finish line goal. We want to marry each other debt free.
Well, it wasn't initially though, and you talk about this on the show a lot. Like we thought it would maybe be.
We thought that
This
she'd
year.
inherit a little bit of my debt, and it'd be about 5 months after the wedding, 6 months prior to the wedding. And even though we were doing it separately, it felt like we were doing it together.
Yeah.
You know, constant communication, holding each other accountable,
and encouraging.
And we looked at
competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
She won.
She always will, my brother.
Yeah, I know.
Get used to that. Yeah.
So 5 months before the wedding, we're like, wow, we can. If we put our heads down this summer, we can do this before the wedding. And the weekend before we got married, we paid it all off.
I love it.
Wow.
Good for you. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you.
Well done, you guys. Very well done. So, what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Constant communication and just being there for each other, because we are unique. We weren't married yet. We attacked our snowballs separately, but it didn't feel like that because we were constantly going over our budget and holding each other accountable to our budget. I mean, she took me, who in my mid-20s would take my tax return and go to Nashville and blow it all when I had a ton of debt. So like,
The irony is you're in Nashville
I
to do
know,
your
right?
debt-free scream.
So holding each other accountable and continuously having that open communication and
Being on the same page.
being on the same page.
What's the best boyfriend-girlfriend disagreement you had over the budgets?
I would say when she
I know what you're gonna say.
the vehicles.
Oh no.
No.
You go ahead.
This is the newlywed game, right?
Yeah.
So great. Answer very carefully, Stephen.
For me, when she was being very aggressive at paying off her vehicle, and I was like, why did I get her that book? That's when she kind of came to me and was like, you know, you should definitely think about this too. You have 2 vehicles. And I remember kind of fighting her on that for a while, just because that's just the way I had lived throughout my 20s. What was...
Oh, in my mind, it was kind of like Stephen was saying, we would sit down and budget every week probably, and I would underestimate, I guess, the budget, and I would he would always say, you probably need just a little bit more money for that. And so that would just be like a weekly thing where we would kind of have different mindsets on things. So now that we're married and that we make our budget together, that was an adjustment as well. Yeah. Like we just have different minds on things. You guys talk about savers and spenders, and just probably having little disagreements about, you're probably going to pay a little bit more for groceries than that this week. And I'm like, no, I can probably get by.
$2 is enough.
There were weeks where like $25 had to get us through for groceries.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Don't think that's gonna work. Yeah.
No. But now y'all make a bunch of money and you get to keep all of it.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
It's fun. We went to New York around Christmas. We're here this weekend.
Yeah.
Didn't feel bad about spending $9 on a beer on Broadway like I used to. And
it's more than that.
It wasn't finance.
Yeah, you paid for it today instead of 4 months from now. So congratulations.
And because we had just gotten done paying off a debt, we really didn't go on a real honeymoon. So we're going to Italy in a month.
Hey, ding,
cool.
ding.
Yeah.
I love it. Good for you guys. Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You did very well. Who were your biggest cheerleaders outside the two of you?
Outside the two of us, my parents were really big supporters. Both of them cheered us on along the way.
Yeah, my parents have always been there along the way to support me with whatever I choose to do. We have my college roommate and good friend. Him and his wife live in Lansing, Michigan. Nick and Rachel, they're in the journey with us. So it was
recently
fun to
debt-free too.
Yeah, they're recently debt free too. So having like people our age getting after it with us along the same, and hanging out with them and talking about the frustrations of it all, it really helped.
Yeah, way to go, guys. Way to go. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
Well done. We got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you, because that's the next chapter, baby. That's the next chapter in this story. Making $260, you ought to be there in 20 minutes. I mean, it shouldn't take long at all. You got no payments. Life is good. How ordinary people build extraordinary wealth. How you can too. $231,000 paid off in 25 months. Did it separately and together, sort of, by communicating. $190 to $260 income. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free!
Yes! Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Zach is with us in Oklahoma City. Hey, Zach, how are you?
I am doing all right, I guess.
Okay, cool. How can we help?
Well, this is where the I guess part comes in. It looks like about a 90% chance that I'm going to end up divorced here soon, and I'm trying to hoping Dr. John can help with some advice on how to just kind of stay focused, because this is screwing with me a little bit, and I'm not performing well at work and stuff.
So are you asking about the? Okay, so back me out here. You said about 90%, and then I got sidetracked here. So I'm assuming you're not into this. This isn't your idea.
Nope.
Okay, so what happened?
The short version is that she struggles with borderline personality disorder and does not believe that she needs help, and she has just started making a bunch of ridiculous impulse decisions and then blaming me for the fact that nothing is working out and that we can't afford the marriage counseling and stuff that we need, and she just finally dipped out.
Okay. So you say there's 10% chance that this isn't going to happen. Is that a realistic percentage, or is that you just hanging on to hope?
The latter.
Okay. Is there attorneys involved yet? Has she filed on you?
She's not filed anything. If I'm being truthful, I bet that if this goes through, I'll probably end up having to pay for it when I finally get sick of waiting and just decide to move on myself. But
all right, so in this situation, here's the person you can deal with, you. And I can hear the bitterness dripping from your language, which I don't blame you. I'd be bitter too. I'd be frustrated, sad, and upset and all that. But that is clouding all of your judgment, all of your decisions, all the words that come out of your mouth, all the thoughts in your head, your inability to get up and go for a walk or a run in the morning, your work performance, everything. Okay? So you tell me you can't afford to go talk to somebody. I'm telling you, you can't afford not to. Figure it out. Okay? Call some friends, call a pastor, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about you. Okay? This isn't about her right now. This is about you. Because you can't control what she's doing, and she stepped out on you. Okay? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I apologize if I started through this. It happens when I get frustrated with situations like this.
It's okay.
No, like what I was trying to say is, like, she was the reckless spender in our relationship. I kept trying to wiggle between trying to budget for all of the help that we needed while trying to keep her happy with the impulse purchases she wanted to make. And I'm gonna go see somebody because it sounds kind of bad, but now that she's walked out, I can afford to do so because I ain't having to spend on her reckless decisions.
Hold on. I just told you, stop talking about her. And you immediately came back and started blaming her for other stuff.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm just listen to how much this has poisoned your heart. Okay? And the only thing on planet Earth you can control is your thoughts and your actions. And that's it. And that is a powerless, helpless feeling in these moments when someone you love has said, I don't love you anymore, I'm out of here. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. And yet, the only thing you can control is your thoughts and your actions. And so I'd make a phone call today and say, I'm not okay. Every minute of my life is venom and poison towards my wife. She's leaving me and I'm not okay anymore. And I'm using anger and rage and all these other tools to try to prop myself up through this heartbreak. And I need to look somebody in the eye and say, I'm not okay. That's what I mean.
Okay? Fair enough.
And so the language that you used, like when we started talking about the you can afford counseling, you circled back and said, well, now that she's out of the way, you see what I'm doing? Instead of just going, yeah, I've actually got the money now. There's two different sets of language saying the exact same thing. And but that's just due to that's just your pain. We can hear the pain in your word choices and even in your voice tone. So that's what's throwing you, because I'm going to guess, John, that if I were in this situation, I know what I would be doing. if I were losing focus, it would be because all I'm doing is replaying all of these tapes in my head over and over. And I should have said, and what if I'd have done this, and I could have done that, and then if she'd have done that, and I'd have said that, and all these ruminations, all these things you're never really going to do, these conversations you plan out that are never going to happen,
That's right.
and you ruminate on them and play 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 on them, and all of a sudden the car's driving down the shoulder instead of the middle of the road.
That's exactly right.
And you hear the warning track, and you go, wait a minute. I'm not even driving.
And so, Zach.
Real quick, now that Dave mentioned it, I forgot one of the main reasons why I wanted to call and ask about this. I drive a truck for a living. I'm alone for 3 to 4 weeks at a time.
Okay.
That's part of why I think this anger's caused me problems, why I realized I need help.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I know enough about bipolar that a gap, missing another person, can be devastating to that. So I bet if she was to call, she might be saying, hey, I've been missing my husband for months at a time, for years, over year. And why do I tell you that? Most of the time in these situations, unless there's just an out-of-control abuse situation, everybody's playing a role. And so this vitriol, this anger, this rage, all you're doing is poisoning yourself, hoping it rubs off on her, and it's not. It's killing you. So breathe it out, man. Stop having these imaginary conversations with her and go talk to somebody. And if you can't afford a counselor, because people are listening and going, I can't, I'd be nice, find a couple of friends. It goes back to that. It demands a witness. Your heartbreak and your grief and your sadness, you got to have other people you can say, hey, I'm not okay with. And I don't need your advice. I need you just to say, man, I'm so sorry. I'll get the next round.
Yeah. And as far as the money thing goes, until you get through this process, you're probably not going to make any traction on your finances. Because, it's expensive, it's distracting, and so you're in the middle of a hurricane, and when you're in the middle of a hurricane, you don't work the total money makeover baby steps.
Yeah.
You push pause, and you pile up cash to get through the hurricane. Then when the hurricane goes by and it's over, then we assess the damage, and we start rebuilding from there. We push play again. We start working the baby steps. Yeah. And that's how you're going to do that as far as your finances go. Trevor is in Salt Lake City. Hi, Trevor. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dr. John. Thank you for taking the call. I'll try and give you a quick download here. My wife and I are in baby step 7, and I just found out yesterday that the company I've been working for 8 years is going to be closing down the division that I work in the next 12 to 18 months.
Cool. What do you do for a living?
A little bit of time. I work in manufacturing.
What do you do?
For dental products. I'm a manager.
You're a manufacturing manager. Okay, what do you make?
Yes. Dental products.
No, how much money do you make?
Oh, sorry, $85,000 a year.
Okay, cool. This opportunity for you to get a better job.
Yeah. So the company is shutting down the division that I work in. They are trying to reabsorb some of the people into other divisions of the company. I like the company. It's got a great culture, and I want to stay there. My question is should I just continue kind of doing what I've been doing with my finances, or should I go into sort of a storm mode and just kind of save up some cash until I know things are stable again? What would your advice be?
Well, I think I would go get my new job.
Yeah.
And I never skip a beat.
Okay.
Or at least be having conversations all over the place.
No, I mean, go get a job making 110.
Yeah.
And leave tomorrow. As soon as you get that job.
Okay.
You don't need to stay on the Titanic as it goes down. This doesn't do anything for you. It's not your boat.
So you wouldn't look at moving to other departments within the company?
Unless it paid more.
Okay.
I wouldn't take a pay cut to stay with them. They're not healthy. They're not doing well.
Or if you were a player, they would have said, hey, we're closing the division, but we're having a meeting with you because we're making sure we keep you. That would have happened. It didn't happen.
Yeah, human nature is that this thing always ends up with a pay cut. And I have often seen it when you decide otherwise, ending up a pay increase. But you need to decide otherwise and start planning now. Don't wait on this to sneak up on you. They've already told you it's coming. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we talk about your mental wellness. We talk about your relationships, your job, your career, your money, and your life. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Deanna is with us in Knoxville to start this hour off. Hi, Deanna. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm tickled to be on the show with you guys.
Well, we're honored to have you. How can we help?
So my husband and I have been handed a pickle. He's being sued for a debt that he co-signed with his now ex-wife. She was supposed to refinance it as part of their divorce. She never did. Now they're coming to him for it. We understand legally there's not a lot we can do. I mean, he did sign for it, but we were wondering if there was anything negotiating, just anything that we don't have to pay the full debt.
What is this on?
It was, if I understand everything correctly, it was a car that was repoed.
Oh, that's wonderful. How long ago was the car repoed?
Oh, I know, it's great. I think probably 6 years back. We've been married for 3, and it was at least a couple of years before then, if I understand it.
The repo was while they were still married?
Yes.
Okay. So they owned a car together, and their car got repoed. Okay.
Yeah, he co-signed a car for her.
No, he didn't co-sign it. It's his wife. They bought a car together.
Well,
He just bought a car, and his car.
Right,
and his car got repoed. It happened to be the one she drove, but he got repoed while he was married before, and now the repo was 6 years ago.
If I understand the timeline, it's kind of blurry to me. Obviously, this was all before we got together and got married.
Did he just hope this was going to go away?
It was something that she was supposed to take care of in the divorce. So it was, and of course she up and disappeared last we heard. She's somewhere in Nebraska running from her debt. So
it's working. And so
yeah, clearly.
So
watch out, Nebraska.
Look out, Nebraska. Here she comes. Okay. So did you actually get served lawsuit papers?
And it was sent to his old house that we had sold to his daughter. His daughter let us know what was going on.
What is it? A letter, or are they?
Yeah, from the sheriff. I'm assuming it is.
Well, I'm not assuming anything. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Do you have the paper in front of you?
I don't. Okay. He has pictures of it on his phone. It wasn't sent to us. We live in Tennessee. He's from Indiana, so this is all over the country right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
so let's just stop a second. Okay. Number one, I doubt you've actually been sued. He might have gotten a notice saying they were going to send something to the sheriff, but if they were going to sue him from a 6-year-old repossession deficit, they would have done it a long time ago. It's very unusual to get sued on a 6-year-old.
Going to the courthouse.
Okay, well, it's possible they did. It's possible someone sold this debt, okay? So either way, here's what's going to go down, okay? You get in touch with the holder of the debt. One of two things has happened. Either it is the original holder of the debt, or they have sold the bad debt to a bad debt buyer. There are companies that buy old bad debt and then try to collect on it, and they usually pay around a nickel on the dollar for it. Do you have any idea how much money they're asking for?
The paperwork that was sent initially said $8,000. When he called them yesterday, they said 12 on the phone, and I said, "Oh hell no, we're not doing 12."
We're not doing any of this. Okay.
Right.
So because here's the thing. Let's just say it's $10,000. They probably paid $500 for this debt if they bought it.
Okay.
That's what they got in it. So anything they get above $500 is a profit for them. Okay.
Right.
Now, it's very difficult to collect a debt across state lines.
Okay.
For them to execute service on you in Tennessee and actually start getting money from you using a lawsuit to do that is it's very expensive for them. So they're not going to do it. The probability is very high they're not going to do it. So this is all about posturing and bully in the schoolyard tactics, not about legal realities. Okay? So they either paid around $500 for this debt, or they're the original holder. And just put those shoes on for a second. It's been 6 years. If someone owed you money for 6 years, anything you could get out of them, you would call yourself having won, right?
Right.
All of this translates to you can settle this for around 20 cents on the dollar. It's going to cost you $2,000.
Okay. I can breathe with that.
Yeah. And so call them and offer them $1,743 as settlement in full, and tell them that's your calculation as to what his part actually is after all these years, and that's what we're able to do. Any more than that, and we don't want to talk to you, you go ahead and sue and do whatever it is you want to do, because we're not going to pay it.
Okay, and with all of that, between the two of us, he's a lot more easygoing about it. I'm more of the bulldog. They won't talk to you. You're not on the debt. That's what I wanted. That's why I want to make sure
he's going to have to wear big boy pants.
So you're going to have to pull his hair or twist his ear or something and get him a little riled up before he calls them.
I can do that. I can do that.
And Deanna, I want to challenge something from this point forward, okay?
Yeah.
The world did not hand y'all a pickle. You spoke as though this hailstorm sat over your house. This is your husband signed up for this. And
I understand that.
Okay, so this is y'all's moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's change the tone.
This is Mr. Easygoing didn't take care of business.
Yeah. Well, this was before he knew better. We went
I don't know.
He learned better ways, so I can't be mad at him. But
yes,
now
you
we
can.
have a mess to clean up.
Yes, you can.
I'm mad at him, but
we have a mess together.
I'm kidding.
I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at the situation.
There you go. Okay, that's good. So get him riled up, and here's the thing. Okay, start at $1,743. You're going to settle somewhere a little over $2,000, give or take. They will take that. It's going to take. Go ahead and count them. Between 5 and 10 arguments. They're not conversations. They're arguments.
Okay.
Because you're dealing with an idiot in a cubicle 500 miles away who has a really horrible job. Cleaning septic tanks is better than collecting on old debt.
That's fair.
Okay? He really talks nasty to people all day long and then has to go home and kiss his children with that same mouth. It's awful. And so that's the guy you're talking to. And so you have to argue with this guy 5 to 10 different times, and it will land between $1,743, start with that number, and it'll land above $2,000. Get it in writing before you send them money. In writing, or don't give them any money, that they accept that as settlement in full, and then do not give them electronic access to your checking account. Send them a prepaid debit card or a wire. Do not give them electronic access to the checking account, and get it in writing. 5 to 10 conversations. This is an argument. Go. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. John Deloney's new book. Dr. John Deloney is my co-host today here on The Ramsey Show. His new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, is on pre-sale right now for just $20. And John, you took your 2 PhDs, your 20 years of counseling experience, and packed it into a book that basically allows people to feel like they're sitting across the table from you.
Yeah, that's probably the most common question I get is, do you do private therapy, or would you be our coach, our personal family coach or something? I can't do that. But if I was to sit down with somebody and walk them through where they are to where they could be, this would be it, right? This would be the conversations we would have.
Yeah. Own your past, change your future. It's having a positive impact on everybody who reads it. It's all about mental wellness. And everybody needs a little more mental wellness, including the two guys sitting here. So the single 30-year-old that's looking to sharpen their mind, the 25-year-old who's out of college and trying to learn how to make better friends, new friends, the mom who wants to connect to her kids better, people dealing with anxiety, people dealing with abusive relationships, people dealing with just simple boundaries, the interfering mother-in-law. Everyone has a story. And we gave out advanced copies of the book to some listeners. They're going crazy about it. This book has been absolutely life-changing for everyone that's read it, including me. It's an amazing read. We've taught God and Grandma's ways of handling money around here for 30 years at Ramsey, and now John is doing that for mental wellness and for relationships. It's a complex topic, and he's put the cookies on a shelf where we can all reach them. Pre-order your copy right now at RamseySolutions.com for $20. It is Own Your Past, Change Your Future. For the $20 in pre-order, you will get the audiobook version, the ebook version, and a month of free weekly therapy sessions from the folks at BetterHelp. That's a bargain, all for $20. That's pretty serious right there.
Pretty cool.
And this book is selling, guys, like crazy. It's going to be our next #1 bestseller here at Ramsey. It actually comes out in April, so just a couple of weeks from now, we'll be mailing them out to you guys and actually be doing the big launch day and everything, official launch day, but it is on pre-sale, and that's where you get the bargains, is when you order it on pre-sale. Own Your Past, Change Your Future. You have to read this book. It's an absolute must. John's been a lot of fun on this project.
Yeah, I don't know, writing a book would be what I classify as fun, but it's definitely been a process, right? It's like having surgery. And but yeah, now it's out here. Hey, one of the coolest things of the feedback, I got to sit down and speak to some of the folks who read it and tell me what they thought directly. Every single person, the most common thing they say is, it's the first book that I've read in a while that wasn't written at me. It was with me. I felt like we were on this thing together. And when I sat down to write this, man, I've just read 1,000 articles and books that are experts talking at me. And the whole goal was to say, no, we're all in this thing, man. We're going to sit down and let's do this together, because I'm walking this thing through with my little kids and my wife and my job. And so we nailed it, man. It's just me walking alongside folks. I'm excited.
That's fun. That's the way it should be. Jordan is with us. Jordan's in San Antonio. Hi, Jordan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you, and appreciate all you guys do to help change the world. Appreciate it all.
You too, brother. How can we help?
So I'm basically just an underperforming franchise owner, a really small franchise, and I'm just kind of looking to see what ideas you guys have for someone who sucks at being a salesman, selling a product that it's higher premium price. I refinish doors for standard starting price $850, and it's a 2-week process. I mean, it's a real marine grade finish. But in my market in San Antonio, there's a lot of cheap labor who will do the door in one day for like $150, $200. So I'm struggling to make sales and just do my part and not be able to pay my bills. So I had to go get an 8-to-5 job. So just wondering, and I need to get Ken Coleman's book, but I'm studying for ordinations. But once I finish that, I'm going to get his book. But I just want to know what you guys have to help me become a better salesman so my business can be what it needs to be.
You're finishing what?
Finishing doors. So like your wooden, mahogany, oak, your major entrances where you're going to be paying like $30,000 if you wanted to replace something normally.
So a mahogany front door on a home. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you refinish that for $850?
Starting, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And so this is obviously a product for high-end neighborhoods only?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I suppose, and you know, having been to San Antonio a bunch of times, there's a lot of very nice homes there. I really wasn't aware there were a lot of $30,000 front doors.
No, I hear you. It's definitely during the territory purchase, I had to look through and go through zip codes with that most likely had it. So I have zip codes that's closest to my area that I'm targeting, but I'm basically the only one here. So I actually kind of have the free reign of the whole San Antonio area for now.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, but I live in a home that's several $1 million, and the front door didn't cost $850 probably.
Yeah, I understand that. It was born out of Cincinnati, and there you have homes where like the entire front entrance, it would cost them tens of thousands to replace things. And so I just bought into it, thought it was a pretty novel concept. And I've got some jobs, you know, I've landed some businesses.
How many franchisees does this franchisor have across the nation?
I think currently around 10. It's pretty new.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to try to find the top 3 and go visit with them and ask them what they're doing that you're not doing. Because you have a very unique, very narrow, very niche market, and finding the potential customer is probably half the battle. And then once you've found them, convincing them. But dude, if I've got an super expensive imported Italian, Mexican, whatever, something that I brought in from Guadalajara and it's across the whole front of my house, spending $850 on it is nothing. But I just don't know how many of those there are and how to find them. I'm not doubting that they're there. I just don't know how to answer that part of the question. But it sounds to me like that you know, aligning yourself with the potential customers is the biggest thing. You don't need to sell firewood to somebody who doesn't have a fireplace. You know, I mean, it's just so finding somebody that actually has the type of product. And this is definitely not something that's on every corner. It's an ultra high-end house.
And I would ask the question, is this what you want to be doing? Or did you buy into something, you thought it would be cool, you thought they gave you a bill of goods by how much money you were going to make, you're a year or two in, and you realize,
this ain't fun.
I'm not making this money. It's not fun. The way I keep getting up every day is because I absolutely love my job. Even the crummy parts of it I like. The thing Dave gets up every day is like he's got this mom in his head that he says, I've got to get up here today so I can go help her. There's a drive that is about serving other people. I don't hear that in you at all, my brother. I hear, well, how do I just keep this thing that I don't even like it? I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not even good at it. How do I keep this thing alive? Man, there's the sunk cost thing. At some point, I say you walk away and get a job that you like,
or another business, whatever it is, something that you're fired up about. But if you are in love with this and you do want to pursue it, and you really, really do, what you've got to find is someone who is good at it and find out what they do. It's studying best practices. So I've got a friend in the radio business that contacted me the other day, and they're coming in 3 or 4 of them with their team to spend a half a day with my team to see what we're doing. They're going to study us because they want to have some of the success level that we have had. And we're going to openly share and not charge them a dime. They're just a friend. They're coming over and hanging out. But they're going to walk through here with yellow pad notes and ask 5 million questions and go home inspired to do things better, do things different than they were doing before. And that's what you need to do. You need to be that guy contacting one of these other franchisees and going, hey, I'm dying down here. Could I come spend a day with you? And take a vacation day from your 8 to 5 and go up there and do that. And if you're going to pursue it, that's what you're going to have to do. Because I really can't tell you how to find people with front doors expensive enough that they want to spend $850 redoing the door. Yeah. This is the Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Joe and Kelly are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
In New York, from Mico.
Where?
Mico. It's up in the Adirondacks.
Oh, wow. Beautiful area.
Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to Nashville. Good to have you down here. All the way down here to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
$178,000.
Yee! How long did that take?
19 months.
Wow. And your range of income during that time?
We started about $260,000 and got to $300 by the end.
Wow. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a nurse anesthetist.
Of course. Okay.
And I'm a mom and just started going back to school.
Good for you. What are you studying?
Biblical counseling.
Oh, good. Good. I like that. That's fun. All right. What kind of debt was the $178,000?
We were living the great American nightmare. So we had a little bit of student loan debt left, 2 cars that we owed a lot on. We had a pool, a boiler, and lots of credit cards.
Yes.
For those of us in the South, what is a boiler?
It's a furnace.
Yeah, up north it's a fancy furnace.
Okay. I thought it was something you put your wontons in for dinner, so that is a helpful clarification.
Well, you could.
You could.
Yeah, it would be dangerous.
It'd be messy.
Not a good idea.
Not a good plan. Well, welcome, guys. That's amazing. Good job. So that was a pretty intense 19 months.
Yes.
It was, yeah. Big change in the Dutcher family.
Big time. So what happened? Tell me the story.
You tell your awesome story first.
So this is embarrassing. I was working a side hustle at a hospital on a weekend. So it's a Saturday. I go downstairs to get lunch. I was driving a beautiful Mercedes E63S at the time, one of the fastest 4-door cars in the world.
Yes, it is.
And I went to buy lunch, and when I gave him my debit card, it was denied. And I said, oh, that's no big deal. I'll just use my credit card, right? Well, my credit card was maxed out. And so I'm standing there. I have people I work with behind me offering to pay for my lunch. And I in that moment, I just wanted to stand up on top of the register counter and say, I'm not poor. Like, I drive a Mercedes. But the reality was I didn't have money in my account. And
wow.
I did not want to live that way anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had just paid something big off and drained our entire account. And so he had texted me and was like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, no, I can fix it. I can fix it. He's like, we can't fix this. This is a problem. So I feel like that was when we hit rock bottom. And it was like, we're living a lie.
Yeah.
We were not living.
There's something about
true.
being embarrassed and shamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that in the first Financial Peace book that we did, standing in the cold trying to get a credit card to work, driving a Jaguar to fill it. I couldn't have the money to put gas in the car. I was driving a Jaguar.
Yeah.
Just how dumb I was. Yeah. But there's something about that where you go,
Right.
this is wrong.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have that moment and they rage and blame everybody else. What took you to the mirror?
I knew it was my fault. I had done a decent job with our retirement, and I knew how money worked. I had always been taught that debt was something that you leveraged to your advantage, and I didn't want to die. I was so embarrassed of dying and someone come look at my finances and be like, how did you screw this up so bad?
We would go on trips together, and before we left, I would have a panic attack that if we died, someone would look at our finances. And then we'd come home, we lived, we'd just go back to life. And then we'd go on a trip again, I'd freak out that people are going to look at our finances. So it was like, if we needed...
It's like your mother telling you to wear clean underwear.
Yes. Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
So yeah, I feel like we had who we are, we had to hit rock bottom to for the Holy Spirit.
But it really wasn't rock bottom in the sense that like there was no foreclosure or bankruptcy, but it was just this emotional thing. It just smacked you in the face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And he had worked so hard and made decent money, and I feel like we just had managed.
Make really good money.
Yeah, we saw it after we started not having so much debt. I was like, wow. You're doing all right,
You're doing all right, buddy.
you make a lot. Yeah, you make
now
a lot.
that you don't have any payments, so dadgum, we have money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super fun.
So what'd you do with the car?
Oh, this is you didn't get to what was the hardest part for me. I needed to know that Kelly was going to be 100% on board with this. But when she said, we had 2 beautiful cars. Her car was nice too, and she said, I have to sell the car. And
my car.
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, man, she's serious. And so I traded in my beautiful Mercedes for a Honda Civic.
Attaboy!
That I still drive.
And when he did that, I was like, oh shoot, I better take this seriously, because he just gave up something important.
You traded both cars.
Yeah.
Both of them. What were you driving?
A Toyota Highlander.
No, that's what you're driving now.
I'm driving that now. Before I was driving a Ford Expedition. It was so big and beautiful.
And expensive.
They're both grieving these cars.
It still hurts.
They were too.
Look how tightly he's holding his hands. He's thinking about the car. He's just
2 really good cars, though. They were great.
Were nice.
Reasonable to grieve those cars.
Yeah.
Wow. Way to go, guys. So something happens when you start extracting stuff like that out of your life. It reshapes your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, do we want to live for cars or character? You know, it was like, I want to be known for my character, not for this Mercedes we drive that we don't even own. So it was a big, big change.
I'm going to drive a Civic and buy other people's lunch.
Well, you guys, y'all touched on something that happens a lot when 2 great people who are well-meaning, you paid off something big to help out everybody and ended up embarrassing you at work. And you work really hard and we're working a side shift to help the family. And so you're going past each other. Even though you're great people, you love each other, you're just missing each other in the night. And there's something about getting on this budget together and saying, let's do this together that maximizes everything, right?
Absolutely. You have to be a team.
So
what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
I think it's contentment and self-control. Like to know that what we have is enough.
Oh, you went existential on us, man.
Biblical counseling. So yeah, I feel like it is. It is.
You're right. I completely agree.
Yeah.
I would say it took teamwork and a budget. I mean, you can't underestimate how important having a budget is that you stick to.
Yeah.
And teamwork. I mean, these 4 sitting over here gave up just as much as we did.
Yeah.
And at a time in life where they had gotten used to enjoying things, and to have to give it up was tough.
Yeah. 4 teenagers that you do a money-ectomy on, that's tough.
Yeah.
It's way
they
cooler
were super good about it.
to get dropped off at the dance in the Mercedes than the Accord, huh?
They felt it.
You know what the hardest thing with that was? At work. I mean, I work in healthcare, and I've seen that change from cars in the parking lot, and all 5 of the changes I saw were all divorces. So people start asking that question. You're like, no, Kelly and I are great. We love each other. Like, I'm still married. That's not what's going on here.
The only thing I divorced was a Mercedes.
Yeah. But another level of embarrassment and kept, nose down, get it done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a man. And now you never have to think about it again.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Praise the Lord. No.
It's funny. That's funny.
It's great.
Very cool. Very cool.
And y'all have had the moments where this has been a few months ago, so you've had the moments where you get to keep all of your own money.
Yeah. That's when I'm like, wow, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Yeah.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had one child who asked me, I won't point him out, but when is this budget thing going to be over? It's like, they felt it too, and it's like, oh, this is
But the
life.
same one was with the boots, right?
Yes, the same one who asked me if we could stop and get something, and I broke because I had been telling them no for months, and she said, you know what, Mom, if it's not on the budget, we can wait. We're almost done. I was like, yeah, you go, girl.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
you've changed your family tree then in
Yes.
so many ways. So very, very well done. All right, we've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you, because if you're not already, you will be soon now that you've done all of this. Very well done. And a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away to someone else. And let's bring the kiddos up and have them participate in the process. The young men and women there, it's not kiddos by any stretch of the imagination, but good job, you guys. Very proud of you guys. You're an incredible family. Very well done. And you've changed everything.
Yeah.
You've changed everything. The grandkids are changed, and they're not even here yet. Yeah, this is great. I love it. All right, Joe and Kelly, Mackenzie, Isaac, Olivia, and Haley from New York. $178,000 paid off a Mercedes-ectomy. They did it in 19 months, making $260 to $300. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! This is how it's done, boys and girls. Yep. This is the Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. This is common sense for your life, for your mental wellness, for your money, for your relationships. It all runs together with your job, your career. It all is intermingled. Daniel is in New York. Hi, Daniel. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I'd like to say congrats to the last people that were debt-free, too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
I got a fun question. I got my moral compass kind of going crazy. So
yes.
My wife and I are on step 2, and my grandparents have recently passed away.
Sorry.
They had a will made back. Thank you very much. They had a will made in the 80s. And then they had it updated after my mother passed away and I had an aunt pass away.
Mm-hmm.
So they had 5 kids, and the second will is not valid. So they're reverting to the original will, which had all 5 kids in the will, but now two of the children are gone. I have 2 brothers, so the 3 of us brothers would be entitled to one of the 5 shares, basically, of the estate.
Correct.
My moral compass question comes into the second will they had made that's not valid. There was an issue with witnesses or whatever, but that will stated that the estate goes to the 3 remaining children. So
they would have cut you out.
Right.
Why?
I wouldn't have been part of that.
Why?
Well, they weren't trying to cut out the grandkids. What they were trying to do is
they did
while they were living. Well, they did, but there's a lot more grandkids involved, and they think they were trying to remove preferential treatment.
So they weren't cutting you out. They were cutting out the 2.
No, they cut out his mom's share and gave it to her brothers and sisters. They went from a 5 share to a 3 share, right?
Right.
In the will that didn't happen. But, I mean, we're trying to find out what Grandma and Grandpa were thinking, because that's where your moral compass is spinning from, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So what's your question?
So, I mean, I could renounce this. I could renounce my share and kind of follow their wishes and basically give my share to the other aunts and uncles. But do I do that, or do I just keep it and throw it toward working on my debt?
I don't know why you have an obligation to renounce this. You didn't cause any of this. So your morals are not in question. You're just on the receiving end of a screwed up mess.
Right. Yeah.
If the people involved or the actions were, if they were doing something and you didn't want the money because of what they were doing, like they were engaged in, I don't know, they were engaged in something that you thought was immoral and they made money from that and you didn't want that money. That would be a moral reason for you to renounce it. But this is just a screwed up legal entanglement, and it's kind of all been settled. It sounds like.
Well, we're a long ways from that. I've got to sign some paperwork to do some probate things and some other lawyer forms, and it's going to be many months away.
Do you have family members who are calling you out? Who are challenging you?
No. Okay. This is my aunt is the executor of the estate, and I trust her, 100% with my life and everything else. She's just letting us know what's going on. We have to. So myself and my two brothers have to sign some paperwork because my mom is one of the kids that passed away.
Yeah.
So we have to sign paperwork for the lawyers to say yes, we're the descendants.
Yeah. I do not see a moral dilemma.
Okay.
Because and the second part of that is I also am still confused as to what in the flip your grandparents were trying to pull off with the second will. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. It sounds like they didn't think it through very well. Because basically they were going to give your aunts and uncles all the money and cut out the two children that had the heirs of the two children that had died, and that's not logical unless somebody did something wrong and they wanted to cut them out. But the effect of that second will that was determined to be invalid was that you were cut out. Your mom was cut out. Your mom's share was cut out. Right?
Yeah, maybe it's God working his way back in.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I think they just screwed up. Not only did they screw up on the I really think your grandparents didn't even realize what they were doing, probably, is what it sounds like to me. Because, unless there's somebody, if your aunt says, there's no logic flow to this. Unless you were trying to carve out a particular branch because of misbehavior or
they
something.
just didn't want the money for the grandkids. They just wanted it for kids, and I'm just going to give my kid.
Yeah, but that cuts out their dead children's
grandkids.
Yeah. Kids. That's just not logical.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So, but it's okay. You can do whatever you want to do with your money. You're allowed to. And it's just, I think your grandparents were dizzy. And and that's part of what made the will invalid was that they didn't even follow through on that part, right? Because here's the thing: if they'd sat down with an attorney would have said, "What are you doing?" Just making sure you understand this is what you're doing.
Yep.
And then it would have been properly notarized and properly witnessed. Instead, they just bought this thing over at home. They bought the will kit at Home Depot or something, and and then did the thing instead of doing a proper will with. That's why with Mama Bear Legal Forms, we tell you to go there. You get a state-specific will, and each state has unique laws, somewhat unique laws potentially, and witnesses are very different in some states. Some states don't require a witness. Some states require 4. Some require 1. Some require notarization. Some don't. And so you need those exact steps in the state that you reside in when you die. And that's why we use Mama Bear Legal Forms. So you get the thorough, and the will is actually valid then. So in your case, Daniel, I appreciate that you're open-handed with this and you're compassionate towards your uncles and aunts, and you're noble enough to want your grandparents' wishes to go forward. But I'm personally a little bit confused about your grandparents' wishes. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. I kind of think they're dizzy. I think they were dizzy. And so I'm not worrying about this. I'm signing the papers. Let's just go forward. I'm not going to be mad about it if it doesn't work out, but as long as it just keeps going this way, I'm going to go this way and let it unfold. And it just is what it is. So, hey, thanks for the call. That's an interesting discussion. John, it is so important for every adult to have a will. A valid will.
Gosh, man. I just can't think of a more childish way to be a grown-up than to not have a will.
And yet 78% of the people listening to us don't have a will.
There is zero correlation that if you fill out a will, it means you're going to die soon. There's 100% correlation that if you fill out a will, you care about your family and your estate. Even if you don't think you have much of an estate, not dragging your poor family through the court systems and through the weird cousin that comes out of the woods and all the stuff. Man, Jesse. And I did it. I don't want to push something that I don't use. I got Mama Bear Will and did mine families. And it's quick. And it's not painful.
It is painful because you're discussing your death. It's awkward and weird.
My dad's a homicide detective. That ship sailed to my house. But for most people, it is.
For most people, it is awkward and weird.
Right.
I mean, we have the Ramsey estate meeting once a year, and we tell everybody
sell tickets to that.
Leadership team. We should, because it's like a Monty Python meeting. I'm feeling much better. It's just a flesh wound. But yeah, it's like we discuss Dave's death thoroughly for a couple of hours once a year.
You got to do it.
With me there.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
It's weird. But yeah, so what's going to happen if he dies this year? I'm here. Don't talk about me in the third person. Yeah. But it's just the whole thing. But you got to do it, guys. It's diligence. It's saying I love you. Having life insurance to take care of your wife, your kids, your husband, your kids, your dog, your whatever. Having life insurance is vital. Having a will that's valid.
And that everyone knows where it is. That your family knows where it is. Jeez.
This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones as we talk about your relationships, your mental wellness, your boundaries, your job, your career, and your money. We talk about all of it right here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ian is going to start us off in Guam. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Half a day. I'm doing well. I was hoping that you and John could help me today answering this question. Currently in babysat 46, we have a paid-off car. Our family is growing, and I'm trying to find out how do we upgrade a vehicle without going back into debt, and especially with this time. But how do we do that?
Well, I think you know. You have to save the money.
Yes.
So how do you save the money? I mean, what is your income?
Currently about $90,000.
That's good. So what is your current car worth?
It's estimated between 11 to 15 trade-in.
11 to 15 is a pretty good range. So we probably can get 15 in this current world that we live in. Okay, so let's call it 15. What are you upgrading to? What kind of price range car would you buy?
So upgrading from a Corolla to hopefully a full-size SUV, just with the amount of stuff that we have. We're traveling the rest of the year doing travel nursing, so we're trying to go back to the States.
How much money?
Currently saved up.
No, how much will the SUV cost?
About 25 to 35. That's our range. Our budget is 25 to 35. So we're looking.
You don't have a budget. You don't have any money. You have a budget once you've got money, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's call it 25. If you sell yours for 15 and you're going to buy an SUV for 25, you need 10. You make 90. How long does it take to get 10 when you make 90?
Pretty quick.
Okay. That's how you do it.
Okay.
I mean, that was like some Penn and Teller style magic right there, Dave. So, brother, where are you getting stuck? Something
that seems, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty silly, but
No. I'm with you, man. I've gotten stuck too. Yeah. Just where are you stuck?
What's messing with you? You got car fever for a car you can't afford. You want to go buy it today? Is that what's messing with you?
No, it's just that our car is all the way on the other side in Maryland, and we're trying to go, closer to like Washington or Hawaii. But my dilemma is we have to, one of us will have to go in and trade it in, or we can do it online. And it's just the hassle of should we do it online or should we just go back in person and trade it in? Because that's just a headache for us as far as trying to upgrade and using a vehicle.
Okay, you don't have a vehicle in Guam, right?
Correct. Sorry, what was that?
You don't have a car in Guam, right?
We're renting a car.
Okay.
And that's our issue.
You're military, I'm guessing.
No, travel nursing.
Travel nursing. Okay, so you're renting a car in Guam. How long are you going to stay in Guam?
Till July.
Okay. And so getting a car in Guam is going to cause a problem because you're going to turn around and get rid of it, right? Or you're going to have to ship it somewhere.
Yes, and that's another issue that it's not. I'm not sure if we should keep paying renting a car when we move back to the States, or we should just get our car that we have paid off.
Where are you going in July?
It's up in the air right now because it goes contract by contract, so we can decide where we want to go. So we're hoping either Washington or Hawaii, one of those two, somewhere. But it's like I said, it's up in the air. It's just we don't want to pay rental. We don't want to rent a car.
Yeah, moving a car from Guam to Hawaii would cost more than the stupid car.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that, right? So you're not going to buy a car that you're going to keep for very long. If you buy a car in Guam, you're going to turn right around and sell it in July.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wait until July, somebody's going to have a couple of 3 annoying days because one of you is going to fly out to the East Coast and deal with the car, buy a new one because you're going to have cash by then.
You know what I would do? I'd keep my life real clean and real simple. You guys are making bank right now because you're doing travel nursing. You said you're making 90. Is that all they're making between the two of you?
No, just my wife right now.
Oh, okay. What do you do?
I'm a financial coach with Dave Ramsey, actually. But so that's I'm just stay at home and I do my financial coaching.
Okay. All right.
It's just that,
you need to get on you need to get on a plane and go to Maryland and sell your car.
Okay.
And then when you get back with when you get back with the money, you can decide whether to buy a car in Guam that you're going to sell in July or whether to rent from now until July. And then when you land in Hawaii or Washington, then you buy a car.
Got it.
Yeah, that's my plan. It just took me a minute to catch up with what was still getting you
stuck. It's a long weekend. It's an annoying weekend of 3 days.
Just get on the plane and go sell your car. There's people wanting to buy cars like crazy right now. There's a shortage. You can sell it in 20 minutes. Just, put it on Craigslist or Trader.com or something and go ahead and get 3 buyers lined up to look at it right after you land at the airport. Drive over to where it's sitting, meet them there, make sure the battery's one of your friends went by and charged the battery and shined the tires and sell the stupid thing, get back on a plane, go back home with a pocket full of cash.
Or have a friend who you trust that you left the car with, have them get it detailed, and then have them sell it and tell them to give them $500 for the sale.
Yeah.
And be done.
Yeah. Have them for taking care of it for you. Give them a gift card to the steakhouse. I don't care. Whatever. But yeah, it's just what's happening here. It's not really a car problem. It's that you don't know where you're going to be. And once you know where you're going to be, it's going to clear up all this. But you're not going to be in Guam past July. So, I'm not sure you buy a car there. I think you probably, it's only a couple months. Let's just keep renting it. I wouldn't screw with it.
Yep.
But I'd go ahead and get that other one sold because you're not going to use it either. It's just sitting over there. Put the money in your pocket and buy a car when you land. Yeah, that's what I am going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take it one step further. Don't buy a car in Guam.
Nope, absolutely not.
Go to the States, sell your car, or have your friend do it for you, one of the two, like John said, and rent until July. And then when you move to the next place, go buy a car with cash.
All right, let's. I want to walk through this real quick, okay? We got time before we go to break. Lots of variables, lots of moving parts that can be paralyzing. It feels chaotic in our heads, and so we just go, you're talking to a coach, right? This is what he does for a living. He helps other people. it just feels like a lot. And what you just did in quick form is, all right, let's put all these variables down. What can I control? I can sell that car. I'm going to get on a plane. It's going to cost me some money. I'm going to go sell that car. Number 2, I'm not going to buy a car until I know where I'm going. Number 3, where we're going is unknown. Cool. I'm just going to sit with a pile of cash. And that's what I can control in this thing. And then the dust clears.
And let me just tell you, the stuck part, the anxious part, the stress of all this, as soon as you have your little game plan laid out, evaporates.
Goes away.
Evaporates. The ambivalence, the not knowing will kill you.
Yes.
You have to get a clear path, start checking boxes, start walking down the checklist before you take the airplane off into the air. It's every pilot does that. This is The Ramsey Show. Here in Tennessee, the grass is starting to get green, the pollen is out, the hay fever is kicking in, and that can only mean one thing. Real estate sales are getting ready to get even hotter. Winter breaks out, spring starts to come in.
How?
I don't know how you could get hotter than it has been, but I think it's going to. It's going to be, I mean, people are back at it, man. And listen, if you don't want to make, listen, you make a mistake buying dentine gum, you can survive that mistake. You don't want to make a mistake buying a house, selling a house. That could be a $100,000, $200,000 mistake. Don't buy something you don't understand. Do you know where you start? Are you sure you're financially ready for a mortgage? Are you confused about how the buying process works? Start by connecting with an endorsed local provider. These are agents I trust. They are Ramsey trusted. Our ELPs will help guide you through the entire home buying or home selling process. They're here to teach you every step of the way so you feel confident in this big money decision. Go to RamseySolutions.com/agent and you can connect with one of our Ramsey trusted endorsed local provider agents. RamseySolutions.com/agent. Shaylin is in Saskatchewan. Hi, Shaylin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So my husband and I own a small construction business, and we are often making large material purchases upwards of $10,000. So how do we do this without using credit cards? We're debt-free personally and with our business, but we're use a credit card to make business purchases online and over the phone. And we don't have a problem with paying it off, but we want to get away from credit cards. So what debit cards do you recommend for large online business purchases?
You'll have to customize your debit card with your local bank the way we have, because a large singular purchase won't fly with most debit cards unless you've got it set up. Most of them have pretty stringent daily limits and single purchase limits. And but you can have that customized. Like, you know, I don't walk around with a debit card that limits me to $1,000. I mean, I may buy something expensive because I've got the money. And so obviously the relationship I have with the bank allows me to do that. And you've got to do that with a good local bank and set your debit card up. And then obviously you have to build up the business savings. It's called retained earnings, to be able to cash flow this on behalf of your clients until you get the money back from them. Obviously, when you're ordering something, you're passing that cost on to your customer, and you're getting the money back as they pay a draw on the construction or as they pay for the construction project being completed, one of the two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 30-day thing maybe. So, you know, you're just you need a prime the pump one time. If you had $20,000 cash sitting in your business checking account and it just rolled over all the time, it would drain down some, and then it would come back up when you got paid. and then it would drain down some, and then it would come back up when you get paid. And you just set a limit. I don't go below $15,000 cash in my business retained earnings because I need that much to cash flow these purchases and so on. And so, yeah, it may take you a little while to get there. The other thing we did, because we didn't have the money to cover it in the early days like that, if we were purchasing something here, like let's say we go and buy, in the old days, maybe we buy 10,000 copies of a book that we're getting ready to sell. And then we ship those books out to bookstores and we ship them out through the distributors, and it may be 2-3 months before we get paid on those. And so what we had to do was just go ahead and, build the money up to pay for the order, period. And then when the money came back in off of the sale of those books, it was as if it was all free money, because we didn't have anything owed. We didn't have anything owed against it. It was the 100% check, right? We'd already paid for the cost of goods sold. We'd already paid for the materials.
I've done a few home projects over the years where the builder comes and says, here's what your material costs are going to be to get out the door, to get started. And they required that up front.
Yeah.
And so I actually gave them the money. That way I'm not going to walk, and they're not. So, and I've heard horror stories about that where a GC can walk off with your prepayment, but I like that option too.
Yeah, change your terms. That's what I was leading to, was on the books. We had to, if somebody wanted an unusually large order that we couldn't cash flow, we just had to require a deposit of 50% up front.
And that pays for the books.
And that actually paid for more than the books. It paid for some more because we don't have 50% in them. So our cost of goods sold is not that high. And so we had to change the terms of working with our customer.
But I love that what you said about if you get $20,000 or $30,000 in your account, you become your own bank.
Yep.
And I love that way of operating.
Yeah, and it's real clean. I'll tell you the other thing that's weird is it changes what you're buying and how you're buying it, because it's like real money. When you're doing it with debt, it doesn't feel like it's real money. But when you're pulling your money out of your checking account to make this purchase, you're like, you have this moment where you just make sure it's all right.
You measure to the fence post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that when you're just slapping a plastic down. We got to take care of it later. Just get it. We got to get this going. We got to get this. And you get sloppier when you're using borrowed money. Less wise. Catalina is with us in New York City. Hi, Catalina. How are you?
I am great. How are you guys doing?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
I'm so excited to talk to you guys. So I am myself and my husband, we're just starting now to try to pay off some debt, right? And I've just started listening to your radio show about a month ago, and I have a lease, which I know was a stupid idea. And I'm about halfway through my 3-year lease. And I'm wondering if I should buy it out or continue until I'm done, and then... Because if I buy it out, it's not going to be in cash. It would be to finance it. Or should I just wait until the lease term is done?
Yeah.
And then...
There's no reason to buy it out with financing. That doesn't serve any purpose.
Right, okay.
And so run it out till the lease term is done, turn the car in, make sure you're not over on your miles and you don't have excessive wear and tear so they don't ding you again at the turn in. And also make sure you have the money saved up to buy you a little car of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't plan on financing a car when you turn this in. You got to break this cycle.
Right. Okay.
That's the big thing. So you got 18 months to get that ready. Will you be debt free except this when you do within 18 months?
No. We're just starting with our debt free journey. So we've just paid off all plastic. So there's no more plastic.
Good. Way to go. That felt weird, didn't it?
But but there's still there's one personal loan. There's one student loan, and there's our mortgage. So
not counting your mortgage, will you be done in 18 months?
Probably not. I think it's going to take a little longer.
Okay. All right. Well, that'd be cool. I mean, if you happen to get there, and then when you turn the car in, that was one of the last few things that happened to make you debt free, except the mortgage, then that'd be a cool thing. But again, you've got to plan for the turning in of the car. Make sure you're not overrunning the miles. Make sure you're not doing excessive wear and tear, so you don't get an extra check you have to write when you turn the car in. And then and make sure you've saved up some money to get a little car of some kind.
And plan for the second thing too. So Dave's plan for the money part. I would almost guarantee that the car you're leasing is going to be nicer than the car you're going to be able to buy. Prepare yourself for that. It often is like I'm leasing this cool Lexus or this brand new whatever, And now I'm going to buy the previous caller from another hour. I'm going to buy their used Corolla from Massachusetts, right? Prepare yourself for that. It's part of your journey here. And it's going to feel like you lost something. You're not. You're winning.
No, you're actually now admitting what you really can afford.
There you go.
Instead of acting like you can afford more than you can, which is what debt does for you. It's a form of pretending. Aiden is in Pueblo, Colorado. Hi, Aiden. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you, Dave?
Doing better than I deserve. Hey, I goofed, man. I brought you up right 30 seconds before a commercial, so I'm going to put you back on hold. We're going to come back to you after the break, and or as soon as we can, one of the two. Is there debt-free after the break? Okay. Going to come back to you after this next segment, Aiden, so you got to hold a little bit longer. I apologize. I wasn't watching the clock. Goofy, bad talk radio stuff here. This is The Ramsey Show. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Reese and Courtney are on the line. It says on my screen, you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Yeah.
Welcome. How much did you pay off?
We paid off $77,231.
How long did this take?
Yeah, over a span of 18 months.
18 months. Good. And your range of income during that time?
We started at around $64,000, and our kind of peak income was around $102,000.
Good. What do you guys do for a living?
I work for a small computer repair shop, and Courtney works for the state of Michigan Health Department.
Cool. What kind of debt was your $77,000?
Oh, it was a little bit of everything. Main thing being student loans. We also had a car loan, a couple of car loans in there, and credit cards.
Yeah. Wow. Way to go, man. So how long y'all been married?
For just under 2 years. Yeah, it'll be June. June will be 2 years. So yeah.
Okay, so you get married, come home from the honeymoon, and looked at $77,000 and went, "Uh-oh, this is grown-up land. We got to kill this." What happened? Tell me the story.
Yeah, so it's actually So we saw the debt. We had goals as a couple, and it was like part of our marriage goal was to pay that all off. But the first, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 months or so, we weren't like super serious about getting after that debt. It wasn't until I got kind of plugged back into your show and started listening more to the advice and everything else. And I was like, okay, no, there's a plan. This is doable. And we got really serious about it. So we were doing, just one job a piece for a little while. And then once we're like, oh, let's see if we can really go after this. And that's when we both picked up multiple jobs, started, doing whatever we could to just increase our shovel as big as we could. And that really, the amount of improvement we saw over the tail end of that 18 months was so much greater than the first part there.
Yeah. So Courtney, your new husband starts listening to this crazy guy on the radio, and he comes up with this crazy idea that we need to sacrifice like crazy and get out of debt. What did you think? Do you think he'd lost his mind?
No, not at all. I was a bit of a minimalist even before we were married, just trying to do what I can to make that student loan less. So I have my master's degree, which is where a lot of my student loan came from, is 6 years of education. So trying to make that as small as I can. And it was just encouraging to see Reese come in and just have that fire. I think brought a lot of the momentum for us.
Yeah,
we're going to do this, but now we did it really seriously.
That's
and cut
cool.
back on our budget. And so I think it was just the momentum that kind of made that duration to pay it off a little bit shorter.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well done. What's your master's in?
Public health.
All right.
Help with Yeah, it's fitting, right?
Y'all
During the
had
pandemic,
a boring few years, yeah.
Yep. It was a good time to have it. I finished in 2019, and then pandemic hit, and that's kind of what was the open door to step into.
And congratulate. It'll all be downhill from here, so congratulations.
Hopefully.
Yeah, pretty cool, guys. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
For me, I'd say it's, just finding a plan and sticking to it. So we were very thankful to have your plan, the baby steps and everything else. And just having that, once that was in place, it was just, okay, we reference this, we stick to this. And then we know that no matter how hard it gets or how any complications come along, it's like, okay, we know that the plan works. We're just gonna stick to it. And it came through for us. So that was kind of a big deal there.
Mm-hmm.
Who were your biggest cheerleaders outside the two of you?
So we had, thankfully, plenty of people encouraging us and helping us out along this way. Kind of the ones who stand out the most are my parents. We have some good friends, Kristen and Kyle, and our Aunt Linda. I also, even though they weren't a part of this particular process, I want to also give a quick shout out to my original Financial Peace University leaders, Mike and Kathy. They were, put the spark in me 5 years ago, and then since then that was able to ignite that fire for getting through this debt here. So definitely had lots of people. Those are just the tip of the iceberg, really, when it comes to who were helping us out.
For sure.
Cool. What was the best disagreement y'all had?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, goodness.
I think if anything, it's just now just trying to figure out, all right, now that debt's paid off, what's the next big step?
How do we spend all this money that's ours, right?
Yeah. For sure. We exciting news, are expecting a baby in September, so
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Trying to figure out what the next goal is. So, saving up for a house or saving up for baby or whatever it might be. So I think that's the most, relevant thing for right now. What's the next
for
step?
Our money. And we're so thankful that we don't have a mountain of debt to worry about in this process either. So it's we're secure in knowing that whatever money we have is money that we get to put into our future.
Yeah, it changes everything. Way to go, you guys. Very, very well done. Very proud of you. Good work. Good work. We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you, How Ordinary People Built Extraordinary Wealth, how you can too. We want you to finish the baby steps, become millionaires in the process, and that's the next chapter in your story, okay?
Absolutely.
And a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away to someone and get them stirred up as well. So very well done, you two. Very well done. Reese and Courtney, Grand Rapids, Michigan, $77,000 paid off in 18 months, making 64 to 102. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
All right. 3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
That's how it's done, boys and girls.
Reese and Courtney, way to go.
Man, that's it. Beautiful job. Well done, well done. All right, as promised, I'm going to try to get Aiden in here from Pueblo, Colorado. Hi, Aiden. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Right on. Thank you for having me, Dave.
Sure. I'm not going to psych you out this time. What's up? How can we help?
Well, just a little quick, I don't want to make it too long-winded here, but the high school that I graduated at, I'm 23 years old. I'm married, and the high school that we went to, it made us take baby steps to graduate. We actually had to take your whole course and go through the thing. And so we come out of high school with pretty good idea stuff, and we've had some fairly good success in the industries that we're in. And I've got a handful of money to invest, and I had some questions on how to get it invested.
Okay, how much money?
$100,000.
At 23 years old?
Yes, sir.
Well done, brother.
Wow, way to go, man.
Mic drop. Good job,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you get that money?
Well, we grew up in a real small town, and I didn't buy cars. I mean, I still drive old crappy cars and stuff, and we found a little property to buy that me and my wife wanted to buy, and we bought it. And then we had a massive industry boom right in our little town. No one could have expected it, and we turned a house for quite a profit. And then right after that, I got into the real estate industry. And so I'm a real estate licensee here in the state of Colorado. And she's in a pretty specialized commercial beekeeping industry. And we just put a bunch of money back, did all of your stuff, the whole,
So do you own the home you live in?
No, so I actually rent a home, but we're on a river bottom ranch, and I run cattle on this ranch that pays for the house. So we don't make a lot of money on the cows, but they keep the house free essentially.
Okay, so do you want to buy a home?
I would like to buy a home, but I would like to invest. We live in kind of a funny area right now, and we kind of want to see the way things are going to go, or if we want to stay in Colorado or what. But
okay, well, I only put money in two things, and I don't tell people to do otherwise. You can certainly put money in whatever you want, but I buy good growth stock mutual funds, and I buy real estate that I pay cash for. Those are the two investments I do. In your situation, I think you just dump this into some mutual funds. Click SmartVestor, find the SmartVestor Pro in your area at RamseySolutions.com, the person we recommend for investing, and sit down with them, tell them what your goals are, and they'll help you place that money into some good mutual funds with some safety, and you can access it anytime you need to later for the next thing you're going to do with it. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 3:3, let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. William Arthur Ward said, when we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. Free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
Today's question comes from Cheyenne in Tennessee. Cheyenne writes, my boyfriend and I are going to be engaged soon. He knows and agrees with my dreams of being a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling our children, but he thinks I should sacrifice more for our future marriage. All right. This sacrificing talk is based on him trying to get me to move across the country so he can go to school and pursue a career. He had never talked about moving until recently, and he's beginning to shame me and even called me selfish. I was raised believing it's the man's job to leave and cleave and provide for the family. At what point does the woman need to sacrifice, if at all?
Good Lord.
You should not get engaged soon. Yeah.
Neither one of you are ready for marriage.
No, not at all, even close. And you're conflating a little bit of scripture and a little bit of folk wisdom and a little bit of what you want to do and a little bit of what he wants to do and a little bit of 10 years from now and a little bit. This is a mess. You got to pull this sucker apart, man. But at the end of the day, the idea of being a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling and somebody saying that's not enough, you need to do better. That's one conversation. Sacrificing like, hey, I got a job right out of school and we're going to have to live in this part of the country for a little while and we're going to work hard. That's like another conversation. And then the shaming each other is another conversation. And then it's a man's job to do. That's another conversation that y'all need to have before you do any talk of getting engaged.
At what point does the woman need to sacrifice, if at all? Ooh. That's a 10-year-old, 12-year-old emotional question.
Right.
That's a little baby question right there.
And, hey, I know you want to be a stay-at-home mom and homeschooling, but you're just going to have to sacrifice. That's a 11-year-old response. That's, man.
This whole thing is just, you guys are, no, please don't get married.
No.
You're going to kill each other. I mean, you guys got some work to do that's pretty serious. But it'd be fun to talk about a couple of these things for the heck of it.
Yeah, pick some.
We're kind of outside the context of her actual situation, which we've just, pretty well, didn't give the answer she wanted.
Yeah.
So at what point does the woman need to sacrifice, if at all? I don't know where you get this idea that both of you don't sacrifice for the rest of your lives. You serve one another.
It's a race to the bottom.
Bible says, submit yourselves one to another.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be selfish and sit over here like a little princess on a little throne and say the woman doesn't have to sacrifice, the man is supposed to work and bring me stuff. And, this is just not marriage material. And that's really what that sounded like when I heard it.
Yeah, but I read it. I went after him thinking,
oh, I'm going to go after him, too. I'm not done.
Yeah. This idea of sacrifice, it should be a race.
To who can serve the other one?
To the bottom. How can I outserve? If you do that, if you live like that and she lives like that, your marriage will be the greatest of anyone you know.
Yeah, and you're going exactly the opposite direction, both of you.
What's the least amount I can do and get by with the rules?
So listen, if your daughter, Cheyenne, comes to you in 15 or 20 years, hopefully 20 plus years from today, the daughter that you don't yet have, comes to you and she's 20 years old and says her soon-to-be fiance is shaming her, what would you tell her? I know what I would tell one of my daughters. Run.
Right. And what's his address? I know some guys.
Yeah. I can help him with his shaming.
That's right.
So we have a hillbilly answer for that. But, yeah. But he's shaming you, and you think that's – and we're about to be engaged soon.
Right.
And this is how he handles our conflicts.
Right.
Because he's a little boy and he's throwing a little fit on the cereal aisle and says, well, you should just do whatever I want to do because I'm the man. And I'm like, well, you're not a man, though. You're a little boy in a man's body.
And the way – so we were living in Texas. I lived there my whole life. And then I got an incredible opportunity. I had a couple of colleagues that were over at this wonderful school called Belmont. We talked to them. And then I sat down with Sheila and said, hey, there's this potential opportunity here. She could have said, you never talked about moving before. This thing's dead. Or she could have said, tell me more about this. And I would have said, here's the career part, here's the family part, here's this part. And she would say, oh, that's exciting. Let me get involved in this. And let's think this through and talk this through.
Yeah.
One of those is about us, and one of this is about me. And it sounds like both of I can only speak to the author. It sounds like the author has a picture of her life that she has already mapped out and that she is waiting for some guy to show up and make it all happen. And that's not how marriages work, period. That's not how life works, man. Life goes sideways on us.
Yeah. So I'll teach you to write us an email. Just attach them to the whipping post, man. It's just like... But hey, guys, this is, the language is all there, and it's none of it good. All right, Jennifer is in Tallahassee, Florida. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thank you, John and Dave, for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
And I have a question about staying home and homeschooling.
That's okay.
We're
won't
not
shame
against
you.
That. No,
we're not against
I'm
that.
a huge fan. We won't shame you. Watch this. This is how it's done, dude from Tennessee. All right, go for it.
Okay, so we're on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. My husband and I are 40 and 42, and we decided that I should quit my job. I've been homeschooling for the past 9 years, but I have worked part-time for almost all of those 9 years.
And you're going to drop the part-time job.
I'm just going to drop the part-time job.
Cool. How much were you making?
At a kind of a bad job. Next to nothing. I make about $20,000 a year, and they pay me as an independent contractor. So after taxes,
what does he make?
$140.
Okay, so he makes $140. Yeah, you used to make $20, and now you don't. Whoopee, you're okay.
Are you worried about the identity part? You're going to lose yourself?
Yeah, because I've been a teacher for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've been working at this private school, and the pay has been terrible, and the work's been terrible, and just the entire job has been super stressful.
But
still, all I've done.
It was your identity to be a teacher, and you did have a place where you had to shower, you had to show up to, and you got to meet with other adults. And what I hear, folks, when women say I'm going to quit my job and stay at home for a season, there's this identity loss because I was a this, I was a teacher, I was a this, and now I'm just a. So it's important when you make this transition to have a group of friends that you're going to hang out with regularly, once, twice a week, a group of girlfriends you're going to hang out, and you're going to have to work hard to shift into a new identity, what that's going to look like. I think financially, Dave, I think they're fine financially.
What was your question?
Yeah, we have about $500,000 in retirement.
Yeah, so what are you worried about?
That I'm not contributing. We've always tried to just live, ever since we were first married, just live on my husband's income and put mine towards, first it was towards the house down payment, and, then it was toward, going towards the kids' college funds and,
hey, Jennifer,
and things like that.
You guys can make it on 140, kid.
The greatest contribution you can give to your family is to be well. Take care of yourself. Quit working at a crappy place that underpays you and doesn't value you. Be whole, take care of your kids, partner up with your husband. That's the greatest contribution you give to your family right now.
You're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine.
Absolutely.
Well done. Good choice. Good choice. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.